Welcome to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. I'm Diana.
I'm Liz.
And we're going to talk about season 12, episode 23, All Along the Watchtower.
We are. That's a song by some
That is
bands.
a song.
A bunch of different bands played it.
A bunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
I'm not having fun because the band I was going to go see play tonight canceled because the singer was having emotional issues or something. I don't know. I'm bummed that I had a night planned out and I didn't get to go. And my friend was like, you should have an adventure. And I'm like, I am 48 years old. I don't want an adventure. I want a planned night where I know exactly what time something is going to be going on and what time it's going to end. I want to have that planned a couple of months in advance, which I did. And because I have to plan a few months in advance, right? And so instead, I went up going to Austin last night instead of tonight, and then got bummed out because one of the bars that I hang out there is now being turned into a quote unquote dive bar. Like, that's actually in the name of the title, and I don't think you can just call yourself a dive bar. Like, I think you just are a dive bar.
Or you're not, yeah.
You're like about like actual diving, right? Like it's gonna be like
a pool.
Like a pool, right? Then you could be a dive bar. But I don't think you could just get to call yourself one.
Odd.
Yeah, someone's grumpy and old and just like they're ruining things. All these youngins like are just ruining my fun. So that's what I've been up to.
Fun. We what have I been up to that's fun? We went to a new park in Dallas. They built a deck park over the highway by the zoo called Halpern Park, and it's very pretty, but we don't have small children to run around the playground in the water, so we didn't stay long. And what else? We've just been doing a lot of stuff around the house. I feel like we had celebrated my niece's birthday. I don't know, chill. It's actually been like I had a chaotic ass week, so now everything's kind of chill, and I'll take it.
Yeah,
I will take it. We're going to dive on in.
We're going to dive on in.
Speaking of diving in.
Speaking of diving in, yeah, there's no SPN news at this point. Everything is just kind of chill and low-key. All right. So this one, though, is not chill and low-key all along the Watchtower. This was episode 23 of season 12, the season finale. It first aired May 18th, 2017, and was directed by the one and only Robert Singer. And this season he did episode 3, The Foundry, and First Blood. And this was, of course, written by Andrew Dabb, who did our season opener, Keep Calm and Carry On, as well as First Blood with Robert Singer. So we do have the season 12 recap to Wayward Son, and I'm going to skip recounting it because I feel like it gives Diana too many hints for the quiz.
What?
It's just cheating. You could have watched that. It'd be a pretty good review.
It was a good review of the season.
It was a good review of the season. And I'm glad, Netflix would have just skipped it. So at least I don't know what streaming platform you're watching it on. I'm watching it on Peacock, and they kept it in there.
I think, yeah, that's the main place to watch it. But yeah. So we open we see blue skies and mountains and a lake, and it's very pretty.
It is a very pretty lake.
And we figure out that Castiel has a little house that he had pregnant Kelly in there on this waterfront location. Cut to Kelly inside, and she prays for God to help her. And we're like, oh my gosh, she's praying. No, she's frustrated because she's on the phone with customer support for what is implied to be IKEA. And it's hilarious.
It is. It is a very nice break of humor that was in there. And then Cass comes in and he offers to put it together. And then she gives this list of all the things that she's not going to be able to do after she dies. But at least the thing she can do is build this stupid crib.
Yeah. But Cass does point out that he's very good at following instructions, which I found funny. So he promises that he'll do everything to give her son the life that, and raise him to be someone that she'd be proud of.
Well, so it's sweet, but he also promises in there that I will give my life for him and then I'll raise him. And I'm like, well, it's kind of hard to do if you're dead. I'm just saying.
That's hard.
Which is, and partially, that is a foreshadowing of things that are happening in this episode, right?
Ooh.
So you think about it now that you've seen the whole thing. So
yeah.
So we get from that to the bunker, where Sam has shared what Dr. Cunt has told him.
Yeah, Sam, Dean, and Mary are sitting there and discussing that they beat the Brits, but they can't pop the champs because now Lucifer is out there because of Crowley. So,
yep, and that's how he's in his old vessel. But Crowley is also dead. Or is he?
yeah, Dean straight up guesses that he probably jumped the body. And we get our recap, like our flashback, and we had seen previously, so we guessed. I even guessed as not knowing what was happening, but there was a rat by Crowley when he died. So obviously he jumped, he cock smoked out into the rat, and then so we see him get killed again. But the rat goes to the woods, and then we see the smoke out and Crowley crawl out of the ground.
Rising from the grave.
Rising. And they're like, well, do we need Crowley? We need, Sam points out that we don't really need Crowley's help anyways, whether he's alive or dead. They need Rowena because that's who can help put Lucifer back in his cage. So he calls her.
Oh. And there's a phone ringing, and there's a bloody mess, and there's someone holding a lock of gorgeous red curly hair.
And they answer the phone. It's Lucifer. So that's not good. And he shares that he stomped on her face till the white meat showed and then set her on fire just in case. Yikes.
Yeah, so that is what he did to Rowena. And he's also kind of going through her stuff, and he pulls a voodoo doll out of a bag, which was just adorable. And I really want that voodoo doll. It really was a cute one. And he wants to know, though, where Cass is.
Yeah, because she was messy and screamy, but he can't be a dad from a jail cell, so he needs to find them. But he's like, by the way, I also know you're gonna do whatever you're gonna do, but you can't kill me. And with Witch Bitch gone, quote, you can't put me back in a cage, so whatever you do doesn't matter. You don't matter, is what he tells them.
So he's very, very cocky, and he's walking out, and we see this burned up body on the floor. This tiny, tiny little burnt up body.
It's
so sad.
Very sad.
And we go from there back to the lake house where Cass and Kelly have arrived in the truck because they have gone shopping, and Cass was just making a scene because he bought all the diapers in the store.
Yeah, and she's like, they looked at us like we were weird, and Cass says you get used to it. I thought that was funny because there's been so much of him being awkward.
Yeah. Funny. And so he has read 74 books on child reading, and the one running thread through them is pooping. So that is why he's bought all the diapers.
Yeah. So they start to unload, but she winces like she is having a contraction, perhaps. And as she touches the bed of the truck, we see a little bit of gold, light, smoky stuff come out of the end of it. And he helps her in the house, and that wisp of gold light, I don't know what you want to call it, floats away.
I'm sure that's fine. Sure, it's fine. So that happens, and we go back to the bunker where Sam thinks maybe they should just take Cass and Kelly and put them on the move. But he still wants to siphon off the baby's grace. And Mary just is like kind of on board with this because she always wanted to punch the devil in the face.
And while that's happening, we keep getting flashes back to the house where Castiel and Kelly are. And we see that she's in the nursery. Castiel goes outside. And Sam's like, well, we need to be researching, some strange signs because and apparently from my research, whenever a Nephilim's being born, there's going to be weird shit that happens, like storms, diseases, whatever, locusts, biblical.
Yeah, things get weird. And so when things get really weird, we cut back to that lake house where the golden thread or whatever rift we want to call it has become a flaming line. And Cass touches it because you would have to. And the world then goes all gray and stormy. And then there's a thing that's kind of like a demon, but not like any demon we've ever seen before. And it starts to attack Cass, and it's shot by, we don't know.
By somebody that's wrapped up in a lot of stuff shoots it.
A lot of stuff. We can't tell who it is, but Cass knows who it is. He just goes, you? So we know Cass recognizes them. And we cut from there back to the lake house.
And Kelly has put a thumb drive into her tablet to make a very sad, sweet video for her future son, Jack. And she knows he'll be amazing because he's got an angel watching over him and she loves him so much. And then she starts having more contractions, and the line thing outside is flashing as she does.
Yeah.
So obviously connected.
Obviously connected. And in the bunker, they're looking for things, and they're like, found a two-headed cow that was born. That's not the type of weird they need. What they need is something big and bad. And poof, here is Crowley.
Surprise! And immediately Dean punches him and puts a blade to his neck.
He does. And Crowley asks Moose for help, who obliges, and everyone's like, seriously? And Sam's just like, look, we just can't kill him because maybe he can help. And he worked the cage spell with Rowena, and if he can't help, then we kill him.
And so Dean relents. He's like, oh, okay, fine. And they're the ones that have to tell him that his mom is dead.
Yeah, aw, sad.
But Sam really wants to know from Crowley why he let Lucifer out. And Crowley is like a little bit like, Crowley is pretty honest here. He wanted to win. He perverted the spell so that Lucifer wouldn't go back into the cage. He would go back into a vessel that Crowley made specifically for him. His throne's been threatened so many times. He thought he should put the devil on a leash, and he could either use that as proof of his power and or to as a weapon against people that threatened him. That was his intention. Then he shares that he escaped by hiding in a rat, and it gave him time to think. And he realized in all that time thinking about his job that he hates his job, with whining demons, moaning, and paperwork.
Yeah, the endless moaning of damn souls. All the damn souls. So much moaning. But he is there because he knows whenever there is a world-ending crisis, where you place your bets is on the Winchesters. Those big, beautiful, lumbering piles of flannel.
Mm-hmm.
And he is also to make a deal. And he has said that what he'll do is they'll put Lucifer back in the cage, and then he's going to seal the gates of hell, so there's no more demons.
That's pretty bold.
They all stabbed him in the back, so he's like, "Fuck them. I'll stab them right back up their asses."
Yeah. Damn. That's pretty wild. So back at the lake house, Kelly is trying to find Castiel, and she's really out of breath, so she's definitely going in labor here. And we get a jump scare when Cass is suddenly back. And she asks where he was, and he lies. And then she's like, I think it's the baby.
It's baby time.
And the lights are flickering. Ooh.
Yep. And as she has another contraction, the thing gets outside is getting bigger.
And brighter. Mm-hmm.
Yep. But then we go back to the bunker where everyone is typing on laptops and tablets except for Crowley.
And he makes fun of them. He's like, this is what you do? Sam's like, no, look, we've got to find something. A house rental was tracked to a James Novak. So now they know.
Somehow they have found in a newspaper online that a massive outage went all the way back to the house and who rented the house.
Yeah.
Very thorough for that article.
And very quick too, right? I mean, like the power was on seconds before from what we're watching. And now there's a power outage and there's a newspaper report reporting the source of the power outage. Pretty impressive. So there we go. And so Sam, Dean, and Mary are going to roll out. And Dean's like, no, Crowley, you're not coming with us. And puts a demon blade through Crowley's hand into the table to try to trap him there.
Yeah, he thinks that'll work. I don't know why. And so they do that, and then we cut back to the lake house where Kelly is in bed. And this seems like a gross place to birth a Nephilim. That mattress is going to be ruined. I mean, go on the floor or something. Like,
it's
going to
be ruined anyways because she's supposed to die. It's very gross.
Yeah, there's going to be a corpse on it. Like, really, like, there's you just know you're just ruining this whole, like, bed.
The bed's going to the trash after this.
The bed is going into the trash. So, but Cass didn't think about that when he took a doula class online, and he learned for the first time, that a first-time mom's labor can be like 12 to 18 hours, but the class was not teaching anything about birthing celestial beings.
I do like that he calls the contractions pressure waves.
They are pressure waves, and I do call them that for a lot of the rest of this. So Callie thanks Cass for everything, and outside the rift is growing larger, and she has another pressure wave, and she just wants to know what Cass saw. And he says he saw the future, A world without pain or war or hunger or want. And it was a world her child will create. A world without fear or suffering or hate. It was paradise. And that sounds fucking terrifying. What the fuck are you seeing, Castiel? Because I don't think that sounds culty, and it sounds like someone is fucking with you.
But
because that also sounds like a world without people.
It does. So Kelly smiles and nods, and she's, crying. And then all of a sudden the power comes back on. And the Winchesters arrive. And so Cass has an angel blade, and they come in, they're like, is this house warded enough to stop Lucifer? He could be right behind us. And Cass is like, WTF? And they're like, we can't let Lucifer get this baby no matter what. And he's like, well, Kelly can't move. And we hear her moaning into the room, so Mary runs to her, which makes sense. Dean's like, well, if, can you
flame
on Lucifer? Can you torch Lucifer? And like you did with Dagon. And he's like, Castiel's like, no, that wasn't me. That was the baby. Sorry.
He's a little busy being born. But I can do this for you, and I can heal you. So Cass heals Dean.
Yeah, because his leg was still fucked up. He was limping a little bit. And so they go outside. Sam, Dean, and Cass go outside. And Sam and Dean are like, what the fuck is that light thing over there? It's pretty fun.
Yep. And he's like, nope, it's a doorway to another world. It's an alternate reality. Borrow world, like the time they were in the world where supernatural wasn't real and Sam was Polish.
And Castiel's like, what? It's pretty funny. Good reference. The child being born's power is puncturing the fabric of the universe, but you don't want to know what's on the other side. And Dean's like, probably not, but we need to. Do you?
Do you really need to know this? If someone tells you there is an apocalypse land on the other side of this line, do you need to go through? I say no.
I don't understand why you need to.
Nope, you're fine. Anyway, so they decide to go through, and they go to Apocalypse Land. Mm-hmm. And what we figure out is like this is a war between heaven and hell. Yes. And there are just a few humans who are left, and they're just kind of in the middle.
Yeah. And so, yeah, this is an alternate universe or alternate world where this is what happened. And they're like, how do you know this? He's like, a friend told me. And so it's the question. I like the question is on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is it? 11. So Castiel is like, no, but I have faith that the child will close this rift. And Dean calls him a dumbass for his faith in an unborn baby god.
He has really bought into his unborn baby deity here. Mm-hmm. But here comes someone with a bunch of guns and, again, a head wrapped up in a scarf. And the boys all pull their guns and they take off the scarf to reveal, oh my God, it's Bobby. And he is in a jaunty beret.
Yes, but it's not their Bobby. That's the difference. It's Bobby, but he doesn't know them because they don't exist in his timeline, because they find out that the only way this guy knows who John Winchester is from hearing stories about him before he died. He's been dead for 40 years. And he heard stories about him from Mary Campbell after she had too much moonshine and talked about how Azazel killed John.
No, Azazel killed her about 10 years ago. Yeah, she would get drunk and talk about John, and then he says, and then Azazel kills her in this land. But again, this is just a world without Sam and Dean Winchester is a big gist of that scene. And we go from there back to the lake house where current Mary is telling Kelly that it's almost time.
Yeah, because less than 5 minutes between pressure waves, and they both know that Kelly is dying. And Kelly asks, she said it's okay, and says, wouldn't you die for your sons? And Mary says, yeah.
Yep. And then we go back to Apocalypse Land, where we learn that the rift going off set off alarms at Bobby's place. And so he got there to see Cass getting jumped by what we learn is a tempter demon.
Ooh.
And demons have horns now. And he thought that Castiel looked different than the other flyboys because, for one thing, he wasn't wearing a necklace of baby ears. Yep, in Apocalypse World, angels are just wearing necklaces of baby ears.
Yeah. Yeah. And apparently this Bobby's hobby and passion is killing angels because refers to them as the dicks upstairs and refers to his rifle as Rufus.
Aw. And he has loaded the rounds with old angel blades and they've made angel killing bullets.
That's wild.
And smart. Because if you can make witch killing bullets,
that?
why can't you make angel killing bullets?
hasn't
So you've got to have a lot of angel blades to do
true.
that.
That's true. That's true. So back, we see Kelly's continuing in her labor. Sam, Dean, and Castiel go back to their world, their timeline, whatever you want to call it, their reality.
Yeah, they come back to reality, and Dean is overwhelmed, and then Crowley just shows up, who is just the answer to all of your problems.
Mm-hmm.
Cass goes into Kelly's room, and Mary leaves. Then they go back downstairs where they're reloading guns. Like, your guns weren't loaded before. I don't understand that.
You've been hanging out in the bunker. Why was your shit not ready?
Well, you just were in Apocalypse Land and you pulled your gun out. I guess, like, maybe they're just rechecking. I don't know. So Dean hopes Cass is right about his faith in, like, this baby god. But he has faith in them, which is sweet.
It is sweet. And so Castiel is telling Kelly that it's going to be fine. And he kisses her on the forehead and tells her to remember paradise.
And outside, Lucifer has arrived.
Yeah.
Sam tries saying that Chuck God will stop him like he did last time, but Chuck God is nowhere to be found.
Yeah. And Lucifer is just really talking a lot of shit. That's really like his shtick right now. I mean, he's always been a shit talker, but feels like extra right now.
It is, because he could be popping people, like, he could have popped them already, but he just wants to have his monologue. Yeah. And so he wants Apocalypse Take 2 because it's a classic, and he wants to do it. So they're going to fight. And Lucifer just flings Cass, and Sam and Dean run off.
Yeah. And Lucifer follows them, and they go, and he wants, he's just talking about how he's going to rip them apart, blah, 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 blah. But he can't because the baby's coming. And so he sees Sam and Dean at the light rip line thing. And so Sam and Dean touch it and they go through the other world. So Lucifer follows them, obviously. And he gets there and he looks around and says, nice.
Yeah, he is a fan of Apocalypse Land. And Dean has gotten a hold of Rufus, and he wants to see if those bullets work against an archangel, and he shoots him up while Sam runs to Crowley, who is doing a spell. Yes. And unfortunately, Dean did not have enough bullets in there, and he runs out of them. And Crowley explains...
He shoots a lot of bullets at him.
He does shoot a lot of bullets at him. And Crowley explains what this plan is. And the plan is to seal Lucifer in the world. And the spell, of course, requires some fine artisanal holy oil in a jug.
Of course it does. They all do, don't they?
I think so.
But so Lucifer goes up to Dean and just hits him with the rifle, and then we just have a fight. But really, it's just Lucifer beating the shit out of Dean. That's just really what's happening. It's uncomfortable. But apparently, Crowley needs one more ingredient. And Sam's like, what the fuck? It's a little late. So, a little speech of how Lucifer humiliated him and he hates him. And he's going to wipe the self-satisfied smile off his face. And Lucifer's like, oh, whatever, you're going to lose. And Crowley's like, sure. And he looks over his shoulder. It says, hi, boys. And he stabs himself.
Sure does. He sacrifices himself on an angel blade. And the bowl catches on fire. But then, like, to ruin everything, Cass comes through. And they're like, that was not part of the plan. No. And so Cass comes through. And Sam says Cass, but he goes, he's followed by, okay, anyways.
So Sam and Dean go back and now.
Yeah,
so now
I jumped in my things. Yeah. Okay, so the bull catches on fire, Cass comes through, the boys jump out.
Yes. And because they know it's about to close. And so we see Kelly back pushing, and we see a big explosion, and Mary falls to the floor because that's quite a birth.
Yeah, her
And
golden
then,
light coming out of her vagina just knocks Mary out.
yeah, that's wild. And then we see Castiel pop back through the rift back to the reality world. And then fucking Lucifer stabs him from behind.
And he kills Cass.
No.
So
we get like the
now,
full angel death glow. It's awful.
Yeah, so now Crowley's dead. Cass is dead.
What the fuck? What the fuck? And Lucifer's just like, that was fun. Oh. But here comes Mary.
Yeah, and she wants him to get away from them. Mm-hmm. And he is like, you're just living up to the hype. And he gets all purry.
But she has on her fancy spelled British men of letters brass knuckles, which is kind of cool. And she tells Sam and Dean that she loves them, and she just starts punching Lucifer in the face a bunch.
A lot. And he falls, and then he pulls her through the rift.
So they both go through, and then the rift closes and disappears.
And Lucifer does a no. Mm-hmm. Then on the person side, that's just what I called it there. The boys are also knowing, but they can see the house is glowing.
Yeah, because now Castiel's dead on the ground. Dean falls to his knees by Castiel and looks up at the sky. Sam goes inside to investigate what's happening inside the house because of the flickering lights, and he finds dead Kelly, quite peaceful, laying in the bed and not messy, surprisingly.
Yeah, she was in a white nightgown, so of course she died. And there is no Nephilim afterbirth or anything. Nothing. Like no corpse blood. So maybe you didn't ruin the mattress, but I still think you would have,
And he follows these burnt footprints in the wood floor. Gosh, that'd be so hard to get fixed. You feel the whole house refinished.
Yeah, you just have to get rid of those floors.
It's terrible. And he follows them to the nursery, and there's somebody sitting in the corner, and they open their eyes and they glow yellow. And it's a person, not like a baby.
That's not a baby. I don't think we're going to need all those diapers.
Probably not. And that's our episode. That's our season. What the fuck?
And that's how the season ends. All right. Crazy. So we'll get back to talking about how that is, but at first it's time for season 12 trivia, because that's what happens at the end of this episode. I'm very excited about this. All right. So you ready?
No, but go for it.
Okay. All right. In episode 1 of this season, Mary tells Dean her meet cute with John Winchester. When they met, why did she give him her phone number? Was it because A, they had both just seen Slaughterhouse-5, B, she thinks the Impala is really hot, C, he knew the words to every Zeppelin song, or D, she thought he was a demon?
I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to go with B.
Nope, it was the words to every Zeppelin song.
I almost said that. I was like, it's C. I know it's C. Damn it. Okay.
Okay.
Go with the first instinct, Diana. You know better.
Don't overthink it. All right. Second question. Which of these 4 songs were not a title to an episode this year? A, American Nightmare. B, Take 'Em All. C, Stuck in the Middle with You. Or D, Somewhere Between Heaven and Hell.
Take 'Em All.
That is correct. That is a song by Coxbar, which was not in this, which would have been great. All right, question number 3. In episode 5, the one you've been waiting for, who does Dean kill?
Gosh.
And then
is that when he killed the alpha?
No,
that was Sam did that. That's not it.
Yeah, I didn't give you multiple choice in this one. No. So the one you've been waiting for. And I will say, then Dean goes around telling everybody that he killed this person.
Oh, is that when he killed Hitler?
He killed Hitler. That's right.
I should know better.
Okay. All right, number 4. Which of these hunters survived season 12, episode 6, celebrating the life of Asa Fox? A, Elvis Katz. B, Asa Fox. C. Bucky Sims, or D. Randy Bull?
Randy.
Nope. Bucky Sims is the one who lived.
Okay.
Randy Bull. That's because his name was fucking Randy Bull.
That's why not?
Yep. Okay. Question number 5. In season 12, Lucifer possessed the rock star Vince Vincente. Which actual rock star played him? I will give you multiple choice if you need it.
I know it. Yeah, do it.
All right, my multiple choice is funny. All right, so was it Lemmy Kilmister, John Bon Jovi, Rick Springfield, or Huey Lewis?
It was Rick Springfield.
It was Rick Springfield.
Yes.
Okay. All right, in question number 6, in episode 11, Rowena uses post-it notes memento style for Dean's memory loss. What does the post-it on the grenade launcher say? Does it say no, or does it say yes?
It says no.
Or just wait until later this season?
Well, he should have just said wait till later this season if she was that good of a witch, but yeah.
He said no. Yes. All right, number 7. In episode 12, Stuck in the Middle with You, what does Mary steal?
She steals the colt.
That's correct. Question 8. We learned this season that the British Men of Letters have a school where they train children to kill each other. What is its name?
Oh, I have no idea.
Is it A, Hedwig's Academy,
No.
B, Kendrick's Academy,
yes.
C, Monster High, or D, Hogwarts?
It was Kendrick's Academy.
It is Kendrick's Academy. All right, number 9. A town in Wisconsin is traumatized by the bishops wearing a very smelly goat head. What does Pete say their family motto is? Is it A, hunting people, killing them, the family business? B, killing people, eating them, the family business?
No.
Scaring people, hurting them, the family business? Or saving goats, hunting people, the family business? It was not saving goats. No, you got it right. It was the first one. It was hunting people, killing them, the family business. All right, and our last question for this episode, for the season, in episode 22, that's the first time a Winchester brother says what to another family member?
Is it I love you?
It is I love you. They said emotion. Aww. And yes, and then they all hugged. It was a moment.
They did. They hugged. They needed that.
Yeah, and that was our season 12 trivia.
Yay! It was not my worst performance, though. I had some help along the way.
Yeah, I will say I went kind of easy on the questions this season, but I was feeling generous.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start off with episode wrap up. So just thoughts on...
That was a lot. Like, before we started recording, we were saying, like, a lot happens in this episode. And, like, the story is not, like, expansive, but a lot fucking happens.
There's a lot of death.
And I do like the gratuitous just re-intro of Bobby because, like, he don't know you, but here's Bobby just because. Thanks.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. Going, all right. So, I mean, we're knowing... I'm not spoiling. It's pretty foreshadowing that we're not just bringing Bobby Singer back just to never see him again.
No, I would assume not. But I think that it was I think it was a super shocking episode. Like, I knew it was going to be shocking with whatever was going to happen with the baby. Duh. It was a little more weird than I thought, but okay. And then I think losing Crowley and Castiel in the same episode is a lot.
It is a lot. And there is, always a question of final deaths, right? Well, yeah. And who comes back, right?
And how.
And whether or not this is the final time we will see either of them. And I will spoil it. This is the last time you see Mark Sheppard. So this really is. I'll spoil that. I don't care.
Crowley's really dead?
The Crowley is really dead. Because that way, I mean, yeah, I guess I spoiled that. But I mean, because you wait until the last episode of the show, waiting to see if he comes back, kind of. But he really dead.
Well, he killed himself in Apocalypse World, so that's kind of a big deal. But that was a pretty big one. But also, like, I mean, it's a series that's over, and I've seen enough like teasers without watching the series to have an understanding that I'm probably going to see Castiel again.
Yeah, yeah. But I also wanted to say that I'm spoiling his death because I wanted to have it gives it more meaning. It really, that he really did sacrifice himself. It's not a Crowley double take where he has hidden himself in a rat. He really did sacrifice himself in order to try and do good, even though it kind of failed. He still did that sacrifice, and I think that's really meaningful.
I agree. I think so, and I think that does make it like slightly more meaningful when there's not an out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's kind of uncrowly to not have, but it's a real character change, right? It's a real arc, and I don't know what we'll see what happens, like what happens to Crowley and what happens to Cass when they die, but
that's complicated.
That's pretty complicated.
But yeah, I think that was an interesting because you do on this show. Clearly, you always wonder, it's like, are they really dead, or are they dead but coming back? So I was wondering that for sure about both of these characters, but I felt like
there was Rowena too. Well, Rowena also died this episode.
Rowena's dead too. Yeah, and Kelly. I mean, we've got like 4.
And Kelly, yeah, she counts. She did.
She's a huge part of this season arc, and so four characters dead, and the finale is a lot. And then Mary and Lucifer trapped in a apocalypse world does not bode well.
That does not bode well, but it does foreshadow for, will next season involve an apocalypse world? What? Could that possibly happen? Will next season involve a giant man baby?
That's terrifying. I don't know how I feel about a celestial man baby. Weird. Yep. That's what I've got. That's weird. I mean, I guess that's what they do, isn't that what they've said earlier on in the episode
too? Yeah. Like, things are getting weird. Things are getting weird with your giant man baby.
How did that, do we want to, I don't want to think about how that birth occurred.
Well, that's why she shot that golden light out her vagina and knocked Mary out, because it was just like, poof, well, I think she dead,
She just birthed a grown man.
She birthed, like, how like much of that was like inside her,
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, there's no repairing that. No. That's why sometimes you just got to check out.
Pressure waves were real, man.
Those are real pressure waves.
Whew. Goodness. Oh, man. Well, so are we dovetailing into the season?
Yeah. So this is season 12. It's not a bummer season.
No,
I mean, it's British Men of Letters.
They were awful.
/ Lucifer. We had 2 big bads kind of running at the same time, right? We had parallel storylines going.
Yeah. The British Men of Letters were very frustrating as a big bad to me. And I don't know how to express it, but I found them frustrating. I'm trying to think of why exactly. I think it's just
people, and they're
people and they're awful. Not because they're English. But they were people, but they were bad people. And then Mick kind of was becoming a less bad person, but then he gets killed over it, and that sucked.
Well, and even Lady Bevel, at the end is humanized, and then she's still dead.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all dead. So there's no chance of redemption for any of them. So I think
that's always upsetting when there's no redemption. There's no coming around. And they all got fucking killed by Sam and Jody and the rest of the hunters. There's they are all dead. And that's wild.
And they always kind of reminded me of the council from Buffy. It's the old British men of Letters and the Watchers Council that are, just old stodgy British dudes. And surprisingly, they brought ladies in, right? They brought Dr. Hessen, which is, right. Hey, at least they did that. It wasn't all stodgy British. And maybe,
right.
She was a much more interesting. I would much rather see her than a stodgy British dude.
That's right.
That was, even though, she was kind of an Umbridge character. She was an awful character, but she was an interesting character.
Yeah, I agree. Agreed. Very Umbridge-y, though. I do appreciate that.
If Umbridge could actually throw a punch.
I like the if Umbrick could throw a punch. Yeah, for sure, definitely her. And then I think like the I'm gonna say the other, but I'm not. It's not against the season. It's just I found the storylines more frustrating because it was so like Crowley. I understand that it was his ego that made him not put Lucifer back in the cage, but he really brought this all on himself. Like it's very frustrating.
Yeah, and at least though, I mean, he did have
It's not just like,
the
oh, Lucifer broke out of the cage. Okay, then you've got like,
he
okay,
had a
then there's
very
not blame.
human
There's just
realization for a demon
yeah.
that this was all about his pride and how much he wanted to win, and that at the end, I really don't give a fuck about my job, which is, something we just all come to at some point in our lives. And just, I just don't give a fuck about my job happens to us all.
Does it?
It happened to me a number of times.
Kidding. I'm kidding. It has at other jobs, yes. But yeah, so I think like I think I give a fuck about mine too much sometimes, but that's okay. But
Yeah,
the
sometimes that can be a problem too, and
yeah,
that's what Crowley. But that's also what Crowley was saying, right? That he was holding on so tight to this,
yeah.
and not realizing how much he wasn't even enjoying it anymore. And like all that's left is a bunch of whiny demons and moaning souls, and who wants that all the time?
I thought he liked the paperwork though. I'm
If
not
you
gonna
can't, yeah, and
lie.
if you can't enjoy the moaning souls, like, do you really even like? Do you want to be king of hell anymore? Do you even
No,
want to be in hell? Isn't that part of the joy?
I feel like that's part of the ambiance.
Right?
This is
Is
part
it
of
even
it.
hell without the moaning souls?
I don't know, man.
And I also think the paperwork is part of it, right? Bureaucracy is part of the hell.
I love that that's part of his hell. I
Well,
love that.
but he does imply that he has been king a lot longer than he has been.
That's interesting too, because like this really, it's only been like not that long that he's been in charge, but he makes it sound like he's been there for like
He's been charged since
eons.
Lucifer was in the cage.
Yeah, but he makes it sound like it's been like eons.
Right.
And it's not.
That's not. He was
It's
just,
not.
ever since he was king of the crossroads.
Yeah,
So maybe that's what he meant, but
maybe.
I don't know.
But yeah, I think it was it was two very distinct storylines that I liked how they did the very light intersection is what I meant to say of the two towards the end of the season where obviously Crowley knew the men of letters and Dr. Hess was working with her with him some. I thought that was an interesting tie over and then I don't know. I think it's intriguing to see what's going to happen with our celestial man baby that none of us knew what was going to be because it's Lucifer's baby.
Lucifer's baby. And who's gonna raise Lucifer's giant man
Oh my
baby?
gosh, because with
Because Cass is dead. So
Cass is dead,
who's gonna
Kelly's
raise?
dead, Lucifer's
Kelly is
in
dead.
Apocalypse World. I
Is it gonna be three men and a celestial man baby?
have a feeling it might be.
It might be. All right. Anything else to comment on that? All right. I think that's where we're going to end this season. We're going to
Yes.
take next week off as we usually do to give ourselves a break because we've been doing this since 2021, guys. That's crazy. All right.
Crazy.
All right. Well, thanks. Subscribe, all the things.
All the
Watch
things.
video on YouTube and on Spotify. Maybe at some
Yes.
point on Apple. Maybe. All right. Cheers.
Cheers, bitch.